This is the thing, nobody defines what a self-defense IQ is. We hear a lot about fight IQ. So what I wanted to do today was to talk about the difference between a fight IQ and a self-defense IQ and which one matters more. So Jack's going to help me. He's my producer for this podcast. So Jack, what do you think is the difference between a fight IQ and a self-defense IQ?
First thing that springs to mind is fight is someone who's maybe fighting competitively or with purpose. They're trying to fight someone. Self-defense is you're trying to keep yourself alive in a situation where someone's fighting you.
But I would say that a fight IQ is your ability to adapt and solve problems.
Okay.
So the more you can adapt, the better you are, really. This is where it gets quite interesting. Is a street fight different to a competitive fight?
No, you are still trying to overcome the same obstacles of someone attacking you. There are less rules, there are less regulations, and you're ultimately not getting paid. But you are trying to survive.
I'd like to get paid for a street fight.
It would be great.
Someone's robbing me for my mobile phone. I'd like to get paid for it.
I think the difference is you're ultimately, whatever differences there are, technically speaking, you're still trying to overcome a place in which someone's attacking you.
I think the main difference is the IQ. Most people discuss fight IQ in the context of mixed martial arts, boxing, competitive sports.
Okay.
They don't really discuss it in the terms of self-defense. So if you're looking at this idea of adaptation, well, if you're in a long fight, and a long fight being a 5-minute MMA round, that's a long fight. Because if you're thinking about it, a self-defense situation, a violent encounter is literally seconds. Your physical intelligence is going to be very different, because you don't have the time to think about it. If it's a logical situation, if I'm going into a 5-round MMA match, I can work out my strategy and adapt it according to my opponent as I go along. But if I'm walking down the road and someone suddenly jumps out at me and starts punching me or draws his weapon and starts stabbing at me for my mobile phone or to empty my wallet or because I owe them money, do I owe you money, Jack?
Not that I can think of, but I'll keep an eye.
So which matters more? Because we're waffling with this. Self-defense IQ or fight IQ?
I guess the difference of importance is what situation you find yourself in. If you're a competitive fighter, your fight IQ has got to be high. It's your game. It's your whole profession. If you're someone in a normal day life, you want to have a high self-defense IQ because you're probably not looking to attack people. You just need to be able to defend yourself were someone to attack you.
But this is the thing. Nobody defines what a self-defense IQ is.
Okay.
I haven't heard anybody discussing what self-defense IQ is. Now, improvisation is really how I would define self-defense IQ. So that would mean, what do you think?
Thinking on your feet, being able to maintain mindfulness in a situation where you are typically going to be flooded with adrenaline, unexpected attack, something that you weren't preempting. Improvisation is being able to work within that chaotic environment and still find a solution.
Exactly. So I would define self-defense IQ as your ability to adapt and improvise within the environment. So that being weaponizing yourself. Now, this is a serious point. Your ability to suddenly go from being empty-handed to weaponized, but not necessarily carrying a weapon. I mean, in our country, we're not allowed to have an open carry or concealed carry, or we just don't carry weapons.
Any kind of self-defense weapons are legal.
So you have to have an ability to be able to weaponize yourself. What about a drinking bottle?
Yeah, something that you are allowed to carry that can become a weapon.
Yeah.
An umbrella or a cane or something, whatever it is.
So you're walking down the road, you get yourself in a situation where someone wants to rob, harm you, carry you away, abduct you, whatever it is, whatever the purpose is, you are in trouble and you need to weaponize yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
Your ability to adapt to the environment would be some indication of your self-defense IQ. So basically, whether you use your car, hide behind your car, even hide behind a parked car, shall we say, let's be specific. Because if you're in your car, you could use your car, obviously. You can weaponize your vehicle. But most importantly, what I'm getting at is this idea that you have to be able to adapt to your environment and improvise around that, and that's how you define self-defense IQ. So it's your awareness, it's your attention, it's your psychology, it's your ability to improvise and adapt, which goes far beyond your ability to fight And this is the point. It doesn't matter how hard you can punch, how hard you can kick. If you can't do any other factors in a self-defense context, you're pretty much done. If I'm going to discuss a self-defense IQ, I'm going to say to you that it's your ability to think ahead. It's not just about the fight itself. It's about the whole, when we talk about situational awareness, that's a form of self-defense IQ. How could it not be? When you talk about pre-planning, and when I say pre-planning, not pre-planning as in I'm going to do X if he does Y, it's really more of a case of pre-planning for your journey. We were talking about everyday carry the other day when we were talking about EDCs. That's a form of pre-planning.
Yeah.
You've got a self-defense EDC. All of these things I would define as being or adding to your self-defense IQ. So your ability to pay attention. Attention's a key thing. Would that be a form of self-defense IQ?
Yeah, I think having an open awareness to the situation around you, not being lost in your phone or daydreaming, that is going to prepare you to avoid any things that arise before they happen, before you catch yourself in a fight.
Yeah, absolutely. So self-defense IQ's got to be keen on that. So, and this really primarily is my point. We've got to start to define what we mean by the difference and which one matters more. And in the sense, it's got to be fit for purpose.
Okay.
So fit for purpose is really this idea that whatever you're training and whatever you're doing serves its purpose. So if I'm training for an MMA fight, then I train for an MMA fight, and my fight IQ would relate to that and also be fit for purpose. If I'm training for a self-defense situation, then what I'm doing and how I'm preparing for it has to be fit for purpose. So when we're discussing IQ, what matters more is what you're training for. So if you're training for self-defense, and most people that watch our videos are training for self-defense, not to defend their world title in the UFC, unfortunately. But
they still haven't given me mine. I've been waiting.
You'll be a long time waiting for that. I'll tell you what.
The heavyweight is some lifetimes off.
So the takeaway is, what do you think?
The takeaway, I guess, as you've outlined, is identify your self-defense IQ factors, the key points, and exercise them, work on them, think ahead, plan for them, make preparations.
I suppose for me, the takeaway is that fight IQ doesn't matter as much. Fight IQ isn't as important as your self-defense IQ. So make it count. Thanks for watching, guys. We're going to be doing more content like this. If you like it, smash the subscribe button. Come see us.